back. So excited, man. We got a lot of topics to cover, and just man, I'm excited. I don't really got too much to say. I'm really ready to talk some sports. It's been months since we've been able to get on here and talk to you guys and just kind of do some debates and stuff. So, how you guys doing out there today?
Hey, man. The last time we were all on a video, I think it was Doomsday, right? We were talking about hopefully we were going to get to keep NASCAR. Hopefully we're going to get to keep NHL. And then they went away. Like, as fast as that shit happened, they both went away. So it's been – I think we've been in quarantine now for like 4 months.
4 months, man.
We've
I'm proud of it.
We've got PGA back. We've got NASCAR that's grinding. NASCAR, I don't know if you guys watch any NASCAR or not, but I definitely watch NASCAR. Tyler does a good job with NASCAR. NASCAR put like 30,000 fans in the seats for their All-Star race last week. So, I mean, they're taking some progressive steps. The PGA is talking about bringing fans back in a limited basis. I've been watching. I'm so happy that MLB's been back. I've been watching the exhibition games the last couple of nights, and it's like watching the KBO with the cardboard cutouts and the MLB The Show fan noise piped in. But hopefully we can get to a point where fans get to come back because that's where the energy's at. So 5 sports about to pop off. We're going to get – I don't think we've ever seen a time like this where we're going to have really 6 sports at one time because NFL is just around the corner as well.
Right. Yeah, for sure. No, and I'm excited. Hey, we'll be back doing our daily videos, breaking down slates, etc. We got some new members that are going to be coming on, so there's going to be a ton of content out there for you guys daily for all the sports. So if you guys haven't, make sure to start getting back to the site, dfscheatsheet.com. Like I said, man, we're going to be pumping out a bunch of good stuff. We got MLB starting Thursday with the 2-game slate, correct? So you got MLB Tuesday, Thursday, and then we'll start rolling. Every day we start regular sports. I know that you love MLB. That's your bread and butter. So, hey, man, hopefully we all get back to making some good money for sure.
Yeah, so man. Chris has pumped out a ton of content, too, already in the archives on prospects.
I've been great, yeah, and not to sound rude, but I feel like I've kind of held down the fort for us because there's been no DFS stuff, so I've taken the time and all my energy and all my skills with as far as like seasonal content is concerned, because obviously DFS is in the website name, Daily Fantasy Sports. People, maybe that are a member here or a premium member here, they don't care too much about seasonal sports, but given the fact that we missed so much time and the NFL draft was upon us and our seasonal football, seasonal football stuff. So I took it upon myself, and I appreciate all the love and support from both of you guys, letting me literally do whatever I wanted, with the website and the Twitter page, my Twitter page. So I've had no days off. It's been fantastic. I've pumped out a lot of seasonal content. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the other guys, Dave, Ben, Ethan, and those guys. We've done some draft stuff. We've done, just a ton of seasonal content. We've got a lot of eyes on the Twitter account and the page just from the seasonal stuff. So with everything being back again here with DFS baseball, DFS hockey, NASCAR, it's nice to have carved out a niche of maybe we can get a couple seasonal things going on the page every day. So I'm hyped. I'm psyched. I'm ready to put it in overdrive, handle DFS and seasonal content. I'm so happy and I'm so excited. Again, one last time, thank you both for giving me all the love and support and letting me do whatever I wanted to. It's a very good and fantastic environment for creativity. I will say it till I'm blue in the face, and I've said it almost every day on all social media platforms. So love you guys. Thank you so much.
Sure. Hey, man, and we appreciate it all. Definitely just, it's been tough right now, and, before, basically I want to jump into NBA and I want to talk MLB. Those are the 2 immediate sports that are going to start upon us. Before we do jump into that, I want your guys' opinion. I haven't got to talk to nobody about sports much lately. So I want your guys, what do you guys think about Cam Newton going to the Patriots? Boom or bust? What do you guys think?
I'll let you hit it off first, man. You've been in this, Chris, for the last 4 months, so you probably saw the writing on the wall when this move was going to happen. I know I saw Ethan talking quite a bit in one of the chats we're in, so tell me what you think.
Plain and simple, I think he's going to boom there. If everybody, they they either love Tom Brady or they hated Tom Brady. And if you're in New England or a Patriots fan, you love him. And the people that hate him and New England say it's a system. He's a system quarterback. So if Tom Brady could have so much success in New England all those years, and it's a system that is very conducive to good quarterback play, then why can't Cam step in and be a very good player? He's got two really nice backs that no one's really pays attention to. You know, James White is the PPR stud. Sony Michel is the running down back, and then you got a litany of miscreants and misfits at wide receiver. So I think Cam will do well there. I'm excited to see what he'll do. The guy's an all-star. He's an MVP. He led Carolina to how many playoff appearances? That stuff just doesn't poof go away. When you get an injury and you sit out for a season, it's going to hurt not having Christian McCaffrey there, I think the best overall fantasy back in football, if not the best football player in general. That hurts, but again, if you're in a system, he should do well. So I'm going to tell you he's going to boom there in New England.
I worry about his accuracy. That's the one thing with Cam Newton that I've always worried about. The legs, the mobility. I think that's carried him for the course of his career. He's always had, because of that, he's had some problems with injuries in the latter part of his career. He's always had an issue with not getting down or getting out of bounds and taking some shots he probably should not have taken. But the one knock for me with Cam Newton that kept him from being an elite level quarterback year in and year out is consistency. And I think the consistency part of it has been 100% because he's not an accurate passer of the football. He's just not. Cam Newton has always struggled with accuracy, but I do think that the meshing here of his ability, which if you look at Cam Newton in the course of his career, when he's had the most success is when he's had a healthy tight end, and it's been Greg Olsen, right? The one thing New England has been able to do year in and year out, especially when the weather got cold, was going to 2 and 3 tight end sets. And that's a big part of what they do. So if they can create easy throws for Cam Newton with a lot of stuff going across his face, I think he'll have a lot of success. But it's a win-win for both the Patriots, and it's a win for Cam Newton. It's a solid place for a guy to go. I can't wait to see the first kind of Bill Belichick Cam Newton press conference. So I mean, Cam Newton has worn some wild outfits, and then you look at what Bill Belichick wears, well, he'll take like a brand new hoodie and cut the sleeves off of it and tatter it up. It's just like two guys that shouldn't go together is Cam Newton and Bill Belichick. So, but I do think that it's a good move for both Cam Newton and a good move for New England. What do you think about it, Stephen? What do you think about the Richard Sherman stuff with the contract? Do you think Cam Newton deserved to get paid top quarterback money with the injuries that he's coming off of and kind of the lackluster play he's had over the last couple of seasons, or do you think that this incentivized contract was a good fit for him?
So I'll start off with I do agree with both of you guys. I think that Cam Newton's going to have a really good year. They have a really good coaching. You got Josh McDaniels. He's the offensive coordinator. He's a very, very creative offensive coordinator. I think that at the end of the day, they're going to put Cam in a very good position to be successful. You look at Tom Brady. He hasn't really been throwing the deep ball the past couple of years. It's been a lot of just running and throw some slants to get the first down, and that's really what it is. And I think that Cam Newton could definitely do that. And then the added bonus of it is they're basically going to almost run the same offense, but now you got the quarterback read option, and Cam could break one for 20 or 30 yards. So that's giving you the additional weapon on top of what has already been kind of working for you guys this past couple of years. As far as a contract, I mean, in all honesty, I think that Cam did deserve a little bit more money. That's one thing I will say is that I feel like he should have a little bit more of a guaranteed money, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to, at least gain most of that money that he did, that he, has signed up for, through incentives and stuff like that. And, yeah, man, I don't know. It is tough because, like I said, I do think that he should have got paid more. But, hey, he has a good year this year. He's going to get right back up in the, getting paid good quarterback money. So he just has to come out, do him, ball out. The fact that he basically sat out all of last year, he's had plenty of time to recover. I think that Cam Newton's going to come out ready to go with the chip on his shoulder. He's going to be a little bit pissed off. He got disrespected by a lot of people, and I expect big things out there in New England for sure.
think that's the thing that didn't get talked about when Richard Sherman came out and made a big deal about the contract was that's what New England does, right? That's what New England does. They take risks on guys and they put a contract out there where if they walk away from it, and maybe you remember this, I can't remember the guy's name, but I want to say it was Big Daddy Wilkinson. It was in Washington, had all kinds of problems, and then New England came and picked him up, and they gave him this incentive-laced contract. And like the 6th day of training camp, they cut him and walked away. That's what Bill Belichick has done. I mean, you can look at Julian Edelman, you can look at Wes Welker and how they acquired Wes Welker from Miami. Look, this is what Bill Belichick did. It's a low-risk situation. So be it boom or bust, they know they've got a guy that they planned on in a backup quarterback. If this doesn't work out, Bill Belichick will cut ties and walk away faster than you could blink your eyes. I mean that's what.
And it's kind of a little bit different situation, but I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at Josh Gordon. He got the opportunity. Antonio Brown, he got the opportunity, got cut after a week. Like, you're right. I completely agree. And I think that the Cam Newton situation is going to be a little bit different. I expect Cam Newton to be the quarterback for the whole entire year, and I expect the Patriots to be right up there in the top of the AFC with some, new.
I can't think of the guy's name. I think it's Graham Bessinger. He does Facebook videos like with big, huge athletes.
Okay.
He did one with Cam Newton maybe 2 years ago, and it was a live event in like an auditorium, probably like 1,000 people there. Have you seen this, Chris?
Yeah, I was going to mention it, but you're stealing my thunder. And he was
if you want to,
super
I don't
smart.
think Cam Newton is unbelievably football smart. Like, so that's the thing that I'm worried about the accuracy, but he is unbelievably smart. And if you it's worth the 5 minutes to watch them ask Cam Newton to go through a play call and what he does at the line of scrimmage. And I think it's not only just to see how smart Cam Newton is as a quarterback, and which doesn't get talked about. I think he's completely underrated for how smart he is. But I think it goes to show the average NFL fan or just football fan what it takes to be a good quarterback. Because this is going to be it's a 5-minute video, maybe longer, and it's Cam Newton breaking down and calling one play and describing what he's going to do pre-snap, how he's going to set his protection, what the check is, what the hand signal is going to be to Kelvin Benjamin. And this is a 5-minute video, right? And this is what an NFL quarterback has to do in 30 seconds, right? Yeah. Play after play after play after play after play after play, right? And the processing of information. So I think that's the two things that I'm looking forward to, is that intelligent of a system, and Cam Newton is that intelligent of a quarterback, and he's going to open eyes for a lot of people this year, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we know Cam Newton's a gamer. We know Cam Newton's a winner. He's shown it in college. He's shown it in the NFL. Injuries have kind of got him a little bit the past couple of years. Understand that, but coming back fully healthy in a very, very creative system, I think he's going to do all right. So yeah, man, let's turn the page a little bit. So we got NBA coming up in about a week, 2 weeks. We got MLB coming up this week. So let's talk some MLB. We'll finish it off with NBA. One thing I want to say quickly about MLB is, me and you were talking a little bit the other day. 60-game season. Who's gonna get hot? Who's gonna make their run? It could really be anybody. The two teams that are really standing out to me though. Everybody healthy right now. You got the Dodgers on the West, and you got on the NL, and then you got the Yankees on the AL. I mean, stacked lineups. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. What's your thoughts on baseball, bro? Hey, I got to throw the team out there, bro.
Look, we've talked, right? We haven't been doing videos, but we've talked. The thing to me is you have told me multiple times how scary the Yankees are. I've watched the Dodgers the last 2 nights. They're freaking scary, man. And, I mean, you got Max Muncy batting second. You got Mookie Betts, the newly acquired Mookie Betts, leading off. And then Justin Turner in the 3-hole. Okay, so let's talk 1 and 2 in that lineup. Those guys, I think, have over a 980 OPS over the last 2 seasons. So you've got 2 guys that are extremely picky at their pitch selection and what they swing at, and they're extremely good at getting on base, right? And then you got Bellinger hitting cleanup. Oh, by the way, Corey Seager is back from Tommy John surgery, and he's hitting in the 5 spot. I don't know 1 through 5 a more solid lineup in baseball. So we're talking about it being a sprint, and what a lot of people are talking about is that you can't start slow. But at the same time, what people aren't talking about is you take a team like the Dodgers, and if they run off, 12 of 15, it's over. Like, they're in. You're not going to catch them. And I know that there's question marks around their pitching staff. I think Derek May is a solid pitcher. I saw him make his debut live last summer at Dodger Stadium. The kid's got talent, and I think he's one guy that's not being mentioned a lot. But Derek May, I think, is going to be at the end of this thing. I think he's listed right now as their number 5 starter. I think at the end of this thing, as the playoffs approach and they get into it, he'll be their 3 guy in a playoff series. It's going to be really exciting. I'm with you on the Yankees, but to me, I hate to say this as a Giants fan, to me, the scariest team in baseball is the Dodgers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the ultimate – sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off. The ultimate difference, I think, really between the both lineups are stacked, the Yankees and the Dodgers. I think the ultimate thing is what you just said. The Dodgers, they got disciplined guys. They're going to get on base. They're going to hit doubles. They're going to bat around. Yankees, the only thing that really worries me about them is all their guys are basically home run swingers. I mean, and that's what it is. They're not necessarily, they can't manufacture runs. You know what I mean? They're going to try to hit 4 or 5 home runs a night, and hey, they got the squad to do it. And if they do it, I mean, each team have to put up 5, 6 runs a night. It's going to be tough, and I definitely, like I said, I do like the Yankees. I love your take on the Dodgers. I mean,
I would disagree with you before Chris goes, because he's got more information than both of us, right? You can kind of be the. I think the Dodgers lineup this year with Mookie Betts and Max Muncy at the top of it, I don't think they're home run dependent like they were in the past. I think that they can manufacture runs.
That's what I was trying to say, is that the Dodgers are not home run dependent compared to Yankees are a little bit more home run dependent. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, I agree. That I agree with.
What you think, Chris?
Well, when you get into teams like the Dodgers or Yankees and even the Braves, this is all love, no disrespect when I say it. It's kind of low-hanging fruit. It's like it's easy to say those things, but I know with you two, especially you, Jeremy, you back it up with a ton of stats that it blows people's minds. So I respect it. But being a Midwest guy, let's say, Michigander, lifelong Detroiter, I only know what I know, right? And I love to talk about the AL Central. That's where the Tigers are. And the one team this entire season, and as that Jeremy said, it's a sprint, are the Chicago White Sox.
Are you going to say the White Sox?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
I watched them the other day. They're a good team for sure.
And here I have a few reasons. No numbers or stats at this moment, but you look at a team like the White Sox. They're loaded with, how big I am into minor league systems and the young kids and the prospects. I could talk that stuff. I could research that stuff till I'm blue in the face. I actually have done that. Surprised my face isn't blue right now. But there's a ton of young kids that are coming up in their system, much like the Tigers, but whatever. And with it being a sprint and such a small season, it's almost like anything goes. We don't know. Will we see some of the Tigers prospects play this season? Will we see the Andrew Vaughns, a top 10 prospect, start for the White Sox this season, just a few games? Normally, in a normal season, in a normal 162-game season, you already know. Well, they drafted him last season. He needs a year or two in the minors, work his way up, and he'll make his debut in 2022. Well, this season, everything is out the door, as you said earlier, Steph. There's so much. I don't want to say unknown, but there's going to be so many like fireworks, let's say, where you're going to have a guy like Luis Roberts and Eloy Jimenez batting back to back, and then you put in Andrew Vaughn, get him a few at bats in batting cleanup or third, whatever. We don't know. And the only reason I love the White Sox so much is given their schedule, 60 games. If I'm not mistaken, maybe you can correct me on this, Jeremy, 40 plus of those games are going to be within the division. So if you look at the AL Central, you have the Twins, White Sox, Tigers, as I've mentioned, Cleveland, and the Royals. Royals are back to the bottom. Indians missed their window. The Twins are outstanding. Talk about home run dependent, but rightfully so. Didn't they put up the most home runs in a baseball season ever last year. So they're good, but the White Sox are just that wild
They've lost
card.
some, but they've lost a couple of guys out of that lineup as well. Minnesota has. That look, I just want to piggyback off your White Sox. That you're right with what you said about the low-hanging fruit. The White Sox, to me, are the team that nobody's talking about. And you can go back to 2016. This is coming to fruition. They had a plan. They traded Adam Eaton. They traded Todd Frazier. They picked up a Lucas Giolito from Washington in that Adam Eaton deal. They picked up a bunch of prospects in those two trades, Adam Eaton and Todd Frazier. And the Chris Sale, right? I mean, Chris Sale departed there as well. So this is all coming to fruition for the White Sox. There's a ton of talent. Eloy Jimenez he had a great season last year. He's a popular DFS player. Oh, by the way, they still have Jose Abreu in that lineup. The guy, he's been hampered with injuries in the past. I think one thing that has to be mentioned as well is the fact that we have been off. These guys have been off. And you talk about – I've talked about this before, Steph, with teams like the Giants, right? You look at a Matt Cain, you look at a Madison Bumgarner, you look at a Tim Lincecum. When they went to 3 World Series in 5 years, that's almost an extra season of baseball that those guys played as compared to everybody else. And you're coming back on a quick turnaround. When your season ends in October and everybody else is done in September, you're playing an extra month. You've got 1 month less of rest before you go back to spring training. Now everybody's been rested. We've got healthy arms. We've got healthy legs. Guys have had a tremendous amount of time to get their bodies in the right shape. I'll just throw it to golf real quick and just look at this. Look at what Bryson DeChambeau did in the 3 months that he was off. The guy put on 35 pounds and went from hitting the ball 298 to now he's dropping drives that are 400 yards. He just made – how many Major League Baseball players have had this opportunity? They've been playing baseball their entire lives without a break, basically. And now they've had 4 or 5 months to get themselves where they haven't played a ton of spring training games, that we don't have to worry about the dog days of summer this year. And, I think it's going to be extremely interesting. I do think I would piggyback one other team in here. I think the Marlins are another team that is prime to kind of peak. Same type of deal, right? They sold off Stanton and Yelich and Ozuna and all these guys. They picked up a couple of free agents, and their pitching staff, they've got a good young pitching staff. It's a 60-game season. They're in the NL East. Who in the NL East, who do you like there? Are the Mets, the Mets have been a mess for a long time. Who in the NL East? Washington has had some guys opt out. They're coming off a long run. Yeah, I just talked about the break, but they're not returning the same team outside of Juan Soto. Max Scherzer got lit up last night, right? So, I think Florida is sneaky. I think in the NL, and I think that the Chicago White Sox are the team that's flying so far under the radar right now that's extremely sneaky.
And real quick, if I may, I looked at Friday's baseball schedule for DFS purposes. And Minnesota is playing Chicago on Friday in the late afternoon, I believe, or early evening. And you take a stud blue chip prospect like Luis Robert, top 3 overall prospect, guy's $2,300. Granted, he's not going to be that way for the whole season, but that's just the excitement and the butterflies that I get in my stomach for these young kids, these young prospects. So I think it's on us here to know when these guys are being called up and when they're in the starting rosters, when we can relay it to our the people that pay for premium memberships. Hey, Luis Robert, stud prospect. He's in the lineup tonight. Get him in there. He's $2,300. Like, I think the cheapest guy on a baseball slate for FanDuel is $2,000, and we're talking like catchers or your second, third string, your bench bats. You know what I mean? And to get a stud like him in your lineup for $2,300, it's insanely good value, and you cannot pass that kind of thing up. So maybe a little bit off script here, but I'm looking forward to pumping out little stats like that every day in my writing and on our videos. Hey, you might want to get this guy like Nick Madrigal, who's a Chicago, their heir apparent to second base. Guy's not going to wow you with home runs, but he's a 300-plus average hitter. He's going to get on base. He's going to score runs. He's going to steal bases, and he's going to cost you $2,000. Those first few games, after he gets called up to the big league. So I think it's on us to be aware of those young kids that are coming up when teams know they have nothing to lose, to get them in our lineups for DFS purposes, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure, Chris. I mean, one thing I will say, and I'll give Jeremy credit for this. Like I said, Jeremy's the baseball guy, and I learned I played DFS baseball from Jeremy. But Jeremy, you know, we both got to admit one thing that I feel we have done a really good job with in the past couple years are getting those cheap guys. I feel like we've definitely done a really, really good job of that. You know, especially cash games. If we got a guy bare minimum price tag and we just need 9 points out of him, that's basically a double and a run or a couple singles and stuff. And that's one thing that I think that definitely here at DFS Cheat Sheet is that we find those gems for sure. And hey, that's helped us a lot taking down tournaments. You know, I learned, you know, the stacking strategy from Jeremy and stuff. So then that's one thing that we'll get into. And you know, I'll get to Jeremy, and if you want to get on, Chris, you're more than welcome. And we can do a quick video on stacking. I think stacking is one of the most important things in baseball. Absolutely. Whether it's a 4x4 stack or a 3-3-2, or even a team that you love that day with some one-offs. I mean, I think there's definitely different ways to attack baseball. But if you want to take down the GPP, at the end of the day, I feel stacking is a very, very, very important thing that you want to look at. Is something definitely that we should get on, and we should kind of make a video just about that. I think it's that important for baseball. Last thing I quickly want to say on baseball, it's so funny that you brought up the White Sox, because I've literally watched one baseball game since baseball came back on, and it was White Sox against the Cubs. And I watched the game. It was a 2-1 game, I think, in the fourth inning. And I came back like 2 innings later. All of a sudden, it was 12-1 White Sox, and they were down. And I'm like, oh shoot, you know. And you guys didn't even mention Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson's a stud, man. Batting title last year at the top of that order with Makata. Makata's a guy who steals bases, has a bunch of power. So yeah, man, I love your guys' call on the White Sox for sure. So hey, man, let's flip the script a little bit, and let's talk some basketball. We got the playoffs coming up. It's going to be very, very exciting. They're in the bubble. Everybody is tested negative right now, so things are looking good Corona-wise stuff. You know, obviously, I'm a Lakers fan, and I hope that we go all the way. But, yeah, man, what are your guys' thoughts on this NBA season? Outside of, I mean, basically you got the Lakers, the favorite in the West. You got Giannis out there in the East as the favorites. The one team, you know, as a Lakers fan that does scare me, in all honesty, is the Clippers. The Clippers are healthy. They've all came back. They got a loaded lineup as well. So yeah, man, let's talk some basketball. What's your guys' thoughts on this playoff run coming up right now?
Really quick. I just want to hit this because it's a quick list before we polish off baseball and move on. The guys so far that have opted out, that are not going to play, that you want to keep an eye on, because we've seen guys get designations. We've seen glitches with FanDuel and Draftkings the way. I mean, we've played guys who were listed as NS that we knew were confirmed in lineups before. You can see some screenshots on our social media accounts of that. So I just want to make sure that everybody, we cover at one time. These are the guys that have opted out. Mike Leake has opted out. Ryan Zimmerman and Joe Ross have opted out for the Nationals. Ian Desmond has opted out for the Rockies. Your boy David Price, he's opted out for the Dodgers.
Me off, bro.
Tyson Ross, Felix Hernandez, Nick Markakis, Buster Posey. I as a Giants fan, this hurt me because I thought that this guy was really, you know, a gamer, but he's opted out. Michael Kopech for the White Sox, Jordan Hicks for the Cardinals. That's the guys that have opted out. And then I'll just jump in before we talk about NBA. The list of NBA players so far that have opted out are Trevor Ariza, Davis Bertans, Avery Bradley, Willie Cauley-Stein, Wilson Chandler, DeMarcus Cousins, Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Victor Oladipo, Thabo Cephalosha. Those are the opt-outs so far for NBA. I'm actually surprised that both these lists are not a little bit longer. I was really happy to see yesterday, like you just mentioned, not one NBA player tested positive. That bubble seems to be working. And then quickly, before we get into what we think about it, Zion has not returned to the bubble, correct?
I haven't seen that one yet.
And Zion if left for family reasons, and Zion is outside of the bubble.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, but I thought I read like a month or two ago when they were talking about NBA the entire Orlando Magic team, they opted out and they're playing their G League guys. Am I out of whack for saying that? I could swore I read an article about the entire Magic team opting out and they're letting their G Leaguers play.
Yeah, I personally haven't seen that one. That's something I could look up for you real quick when you guys get into it. I had seen something a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about that, Aaron Gordon, everybody's healthy, and they were playing really well before the coronavirus and stuff like that. But that could be some news that like I said, that I haven't seen yet. I could definitely look into that for you guys, though, for sure. So, I mean, outside of – I'm really, really curious, man. Outside of the Lakers, Giannis, and Clippers, in my opinion, the third best team. I mean, who else do you guys think is a real threat this year?
I mean, obviously Milwaukee and the Lakers are the top two, right? A team to me that's flying under the radar a little bit is going to be Toronto, because I think Toronto's got some pieces that are still there. Yes, they're not the same team as they were when they won the NBA championship with Kawhi Leonard, but they're definitely a team that has to be talked about. You mentioned the Clippers. The Clippers are a scary team, man, especially if they're going to be healthy. Also the Boston Celtics. Boston's got some good young players on this team. They've got a healthy Gordon Hayward. Jaylen Brown is coming into his own. Jason Tatum is asserting himself as one of the top, young players in the game. I think Denver is extremely sneaky. The big man Jokic, before we came into this quarantine, Jokic was not having the year that he's had in the past. And the one thing that was missing from those triple-double type numbers was the assist. And Jamal Murray was kind of the reason, because Jamal Murray stepped his game up. If those guys can kind of figure it out, they're also going to be, healthy. You're going to talk about having a Paul Millsap with a Jeremy Grant who's elevated his game. Utah with Donovan Mitchell, extremely intriguing. I think those are kind of the top teams in my opinion. And, oh, by the way, you've still got the Houston Rockets and James Harden. And in one game, I think with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, I think those two guys could play off each other well enough, to make something happen. In a 7-game series, you've got to worry about defending those guys over a 7-game series, and that can be extremely scary as well. So there's a lot of good young teams in this. I definitely think that, is Joel Embiid healthy? Is Ben Simmons healthy? With Dallas, with Porzingis and, Luka Doncic. This is going to be exciting. The NBA is going to be extremely exciting. I think there's a couple of things that are extremely interesting, and that's the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know what the hell the Atlanta Hawks or how the hell the Atlanta Hawks got into this thing, but Atlanta's in it. Is this, another headline, is this it for Portland? If Portland doesn't do something in this, whole deal, is this it for Portland? We've talked for years and people have talked, how does Portland what do they do with Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum? So, I think this is going to be fun. It's also a sprint, right? I mean, this is also another sprint. We're talking about MLB being a sprint. Anything can happen. I think that this is also a sprint, and I think there's definitely two favorites with Milwaukee and the Lakers, but I think because of the dynamic of this, anything can happen.
Yeah, so just a quick I just want to get back to Chris real quick. I have the list in front of me, and Orlando has their same team that they started the season with. Nobody opted in, nobody opted out. So just wanted to kind of get back to that for you guys. And one more thing, man, I hate that the Lakers signed the Henny man, J.R. Smith, bro. We do not need that dude. Just stay your ass at home. And he's just trying to jump on LeBron's bandwagon, get another ring with him. And then, yeah, I've been hearing a lot about the Dallas Mavericks. People are trying to say, hey, Porzingis is fully healthy. Hey, Doncic is fully healthy. They're a team that can be reckoned with. And I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they have enough to beat the Lakers. They don't have enough to beat the Clippers. Because if you look at the Lakers and Clippers, man, both of those rosters are loaded. They got 9 or 10 really, really good players. I mean, so that's really where I'm at. And then, like, lastly, I mean, what's your guys' opinion on the Rockets? You think the Rockets are a threat at all, or no?
Look, you've got two of the most exciting players in the game of basketball. You've got one guy who is absolutely fearless and in a one-on-one situation can take anybody to the rack. You've got another guy who can get fouled at any given time from any place on the floor and go to the free throw line and can drop it in from anywhere on the floor, right? So, I think Houston's an exciting team. Hey, Clint Capella's not there. There was a Clint Capella trade. They made some acquisitions at the trade deadline. They kind of reshaped a little bit of their team. I definitely think Houston's intriguing. I think they're very interesting, but I don't know that they've got enough on the defensive side of things to really. I think they can make noise. Can they go all the way? I don't think they can. And that's the one thing with J.R. Smith, right? If you're looking at the Lakers, I think J.R. Smith. I don't like that they signed him, but I didn't like that the Lakers signed LeBron either. I'm a Laker fan, so hey, we got LeBron, great.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Having said that, if you look at what J.R. Smith is clutch at for the course of his career, it's knocking down threes off the drive and dish, right? That's what he's. And they wanted Kyle Kuzma to be that guy, and Kuzma's just a little too inconsistent from beyond the arc. I think he spaces the floor out really well for the Lakers. I think he allows Kyle Kuzma to do things that Kyle Kuzma can do, which is be more of a slash guy, and cut to the basket, get putbacks, get rebounds, let Anthony Davis play a little bit of space the floor a little bit more and not have to get down on the block all the time. Anthony Davis, people forget he was a point guard in high school. Anthony Davis can take you, he can go down the baseline, get the ball at the three-point line. He can pump fake and take you to the rack. I think that frees them up with the threat of a J.R. Smith being able to knock down the three.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this to say this. I'm not trying to be biased. I've never cared for LeBron, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And LeBron comes out and he says, "Hey man, people are saying for the past 8 years, oh yeah, you do it in the East, but you can't do it in the West." Well, guess what? LeBron came out. LeBron's not one of those guys who kind of gets in arguments and stuff like that. But he came out and said, "Hey man, we're first place. Basically, we're first place, and I've done it so far." And then earlier LeBron was like, "Hey man, I haven't had 4 months off since I was in high school. That LeBron is rejuvenated. He's going to be fully fresh. I think LeBron's going to do absolutely everything that he can to win this title. If it's playing the game for 42, 43 minutes every night, it's only for a month stretch. I think you're going to see him out there ready to go. It's going to be very exciting. I'm so happy. Just like we talked about basketball with you, baseball with you, basketball it is for me. I love basketball, and I can't wait.
I just don't think that when you talk about Houston, I just don't think that. Let's remember something. This is a restart, right? So there's some storylines that have been forgotten. The one problem with Houston is going to be that they don't have a guy who can rebound the basketball. You take a look at their roster. Tyson Chandler is really that's the center, and PJ Tucker's a guy that they have playing the 5 spot as well. The rest of this roster is, Robert Covington is a 3-and-D guy. But outside of that, you're looking at a bunch of small forwards and shooting guards, right? You're looking at, Damari Carroll's not going to play the 5. Bruno Caboclo is not going to play the 5. Robert Covington not going to play the 5. So, with the style of basketball they were playing, it wasn't really working out. I think it'll be exciting. I think they can make some noise, but I just don't think they've got enough. Who are you going to play against Anthony Davis if they were to get to that far? Who are you going to play against Anthony Davis?
All you do is, okay, anybody you want to play Anthony Davis, you just isolate him to one side. All you have to do is throw it up, and he's just going to shoot right over the people. So I'm with you. I think that the Capella trade, and we talked about it when it happened. Capella trade, I think it was one of the dumbest shit that, Houston have made really good trades in the past couple years, and Houston's have made really good decisions. But the Capella trade, I think that was probably one of the dumber decisions that they definitely made for sure. So, hey, I think that's really where we're at, man. I think, touched on multiple sports. MLB back on Thursday, full slate Friday. NBA coming back in a week or two. Hey, make sure you guys check out the site, DFS We're going to throw up a special for you guys so you can get all content for all sports. We'll have that up in the next couple of days. Yeah, man, we're going to start cranking these videos out, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks again, Chris, for everything that you've been doing for us.
No problem.
Wonderful content. Definitely keeping people in the loop of things. And hey, man, it's time for us to get back to work, fellas. Really, really excited. And hey, let's make some damn money in DFS. I need some extra money right now. This COVID-19 stuff really been killing the bank account. Time to get it back up. Hey, well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for getting on with me. Once again, check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. Hey, and good luck, guys. Later.